How do you even respond when your wife says, well, ask this man?
We're intimate. We're very intimate. It's, you know,
What does intimate mean to you? Because I think it means different things to different people.
uh, sex, doing things together, working on projects, going to concerts or events, that kind of a thing. Just that type of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, spending time together, physically connecting, emotionally
Yes.
connecting. Yeah. Don stopped his divorce in its tracks and turned his marriage completely around by applying these 3 lessons about his life that you're going to see today. And I'm especially excited for you to hear the 3rd one because it's like cramming 20 therapy sessions into one simple exercise. So stay for that. Some people spend years searching for this, but you can discover it right now by yourself. So let's get to it. Before Don saved his marriage from being saved by divorce, he was in need of saving himself.
In my head thought I was doing better, but when the reality came and when I got the hammer drop that we are getting divorced, that's when the light bulb went on, and it's like, okay, something's got to change.
The mention of the dreaded D word hit Don like a swing of an emotional sledgehammer. But what led him to suffer this way? You see, Don had a great working relationship with his wife for a decade before they even started dating. And they hit it off so well that they married within 1 year. But after a few years, even past marriage experience and a decade of proven camaraderie, couldn't stop his one common virus from infecting the relationship like it always has.
I got lazy and was satisfied and didn't pursue like I was before, and I thought, I'm the way I feel, was being selfish about things and just not putting her needs up at a level with mine as I had, and just that's not what the relationship needed to be. And just some of the classic things that you've described, that it's like, I don't know, I'd sit there and watch videos before, pulling the trigger, and I said, yep, that's me. Yes, that's me. I've done all of this stuff. I'm a textbook example that, that you had described in your videos. So
stagnation is one of the biggest threats to a marriage, especially when a false sense of security erodes the foundation that once was. And the thing is that all of this leads to one of the biggest attraction killers that a husband can show.
Just, my wife had a rough year, had some deaths in the family, and I believe I was getting too needy, too stuck in my feminine, and just letting my mind just run away with itself, and just being self-destructive and being angry and irritable, and just, everything that I shouldn't be, and she had just had enough of that.
Not only did his needy actions and self-destructive behavior take attraction and tie it to a rocket and launch it deep into space, but look how it affected Don himself.
In all of my relationships, I focus on the other partner, and they end up, coming first more than me. And then I get resentful when I don't do the things that I need to do.
Eventually, his wife had enough, and divorce seemed like the healthiest option for her, just so they wouldn't even go on just resenting each other like many couples do. Now, this was a rude awakening for Don, and he had to take action.
So, and, our phones listened to us, and just going through Facebook, some things started coming up, and one of your videos had come up in a reel. So I was like, what I've done in the past is not working. Let's give Josh and his program a shot. Let's take a look at it. And it's just a road I didn't want to go down through before. I knew that I couldn't do this myself. I needed help.
I'm personally so glad that Don reached out. He's a great guy. And also, I was able to give him a detailed blueprint to stop the divorce and bring his wife back. This included, as you'll see, a tool so powerful. It's what Don says helped him the most. But let's look at the first lesson. The first step, well, let me show you in Don's words.
I'm aware of my emotions and working on, controlling them constructively. We still have our arguments now and then, but I don't fly off the handle. And I've caught myself, and it's sometimes hard to stop that train, but I've apologized to her afterwards, said, you know what, that's wrong. It could never hardly get an apology out of me, but I would apologize and explain why. And I'm just more self-aware right now. And that's what I'm seeing. And it's totally changed.
What Don is referring to here is called cognitive calmness. Being able to regulate those emotions inside of you, especially in the heat of the moment when you want to react. It's so powerful and it's essential. There's a really good example of achieving emotional intellect with a former client of mine, Mark. You see, Mark struggled, like many men do, with controlling his temper. And he'd tell me, Josh, I'm always getting defensive with my wife and flying off the handle, even when it's just a small thing like a chore or just the way her tone is. Does that sound familiar? His temperament was like this wildfire in a storm. And as soon as he flipped the switch, it would crackle with dangerous energy. The air around it just hummed with the threat of an electric shock. And it was the same for Mark. If his wife ever brought up an issue or if she was angry, his responses would spark even more fiercely, one-upping each other in this own intensity of this giant storm of emotion that just caused damage between the two, especially to the marriage. However, when we started working together, he learned the importance of what I call cognitive calmness. And in stepping away mentally to regain his thoughts and shift his perspective, to see the calm in the storm. You get angry when you go into instinct, when your basic needs of survival are threatened. Your ego says, she is trying to paint me in a way I don't see myself. I am not that guy. It's time to get angry and combat her, to fight for my own ego. Now, what cognitive calmness does is it creates space from the ego and your higher self. So when your first initial response gets triggered to defend, is what the ego does through those emotions. Instead, what you're gonna do is it allows this space to occur from the reacting to the responding. There's a huge difference. In that space is the power to change who you are. I mean, you change who you are in your actions influence her, and that proves to her that you have changed. You must learn how to create this spatial solution through cognitive calmness. So Mark told me about this one evening when he came home, right? It was a bit late for work, okay? His wife had a rough day with the kids and was running on a short fuse. As soon as he walked through the door, all it took was a one-off question, and she just let loose on him. Must be nice coming home late. The house is a mess. What do you ever do to help me out? I've been dealing with the kids all day long. It's like everything had piled up like a stack of laundry, which I think was another thing she was tired of doing alone, by the way. Now here's the thing. Mark didn't react the way you might expect, and certainly not the way his wife expected. Instead of getting defensive or arguing back like he normally would, he stood there, took the space with a deep breath, and just simply listened. He told me how he focused on breathing to keep himself calm and created that cognitive calmness. He paid attention to what his wife was saying, not just how angry she was saying it. And I don't just mean the words, I mean the emotion behind it. After she finished her rant, during which he was tempted to check his watch as a joke, but he knew that would probably go too far. Mark then acknowledged how she felt. He didn't dismiss her with feelings of trying to just make everything right away, just go away, get rid of this emotion, just try to solve the problem. No, he said, I hear you. It sounds like you had a really tough day and I want to help out. That alone seemed to take off the edge of her, okay? They ended up sitting down and talking it more out calmly because as the masculine man, he led with his emotions. He didn't react to hers. Mark helped her see that he understood her frustrations and they peacefully hashed out some of the ways to make things easier on the both of them. Mark himself says that cognitive calmness is honestly like a superpower in those situations. Now check out how Don used this emotional regulation technique in his marriage.
My wife hasn't talked about divorce since she first mentioned that it would be back in August when she mentioned that. And we've been doing things together that are planning for your future, just work around the house. We're doing things that it's not typical of what she had said, well, I'm going to move out and leave. We're doing things that are long-term around our home that shows me that she's going to stay.
Now, I mentioned the importance of breathing and mentally stepping back from the situation to adjust how you respond, not react. But this next lesson is also a great way to achieve cognitive calmness. It was a game changer for Don and the most powerful tool in his new personal growth toolbox. Here it is in Don's words.
To take a step back and not don't take everything personally. It's one of the, okay. I remembered that from Elizabeth, and in Kristen is, breathing, because I also see a therapist on the outside of this too. That's one of the things that she's kind of helped me with, is the mental awareness and just, the breathing and taking time to calm down. And
Don learned it's crucial to take an impersonal outlook. There's this article about the importance of not taking things too personally in your marriage. It's based on the book After the Flight by Daniel B. Weil. Now, the article talks about how you need to avoid defensiveness, and taking things too personally in a marriage can hinder the healing process, leading to unnecessary misery. It is important to understand that feedback from a spouse, even if it seems critical, is not always a personal attack. As much as I know it feels that way when she says it, trust me, I know with my partner. So instead, you can ask yourself, why do I get defensive? Where is this really coming from? And how would it look differently to react differently or respond in this situation? And in Don's case, taking an impersonal outlook also showed that he welcomed change, which is a positive and attractive quality in itself.
20 years ago, I was real good at stuff. I've finished my own basement. I've built, I used to help frame houses. I'm not in that line of work anymore, but I just noticed my skill set isn't as good as it used to be because I don't do it as often, and I get frustrated because I'm a perfectionist. And she would offer suggestions because she is the same kind of a person too, can build things. She puts together stuff. She's restoring old vehicles right now too. So, and I help her with that. And, in the past, she'd give me different ideas to do it, and I would just get frustrated with myself and not take her advice, and just kind of fly off the handle and just get upset with myself. And then what I've learned is, take a deep breath, take it in, take her suggestions, do it a different way. Let's try it her way. Maybe it'll turn out better. I don't always know best.
This brings us to our third lesson, and here's the thing. By working on the first two lessons, Don was automatically applying this third lesson before even realizing it. Again, let's have Don explain it before I do.
I've never had a very good opinion of myself, and this program is teaching me, it's okay to feel how I do, but quit being so hard on yourself. You are a decent person. You are worthy of love and affection and being a part of this world. And that's a huge thing too. I've always said I've never liked the person I've seen in the mirror, and this program is helping me to change that, doing this for me. So,
as cheesy as it sounds, I'm talking about self-love psychology. You need to first understand that you are worthy of love. It doesn't matter what mistakes you might have made. If you've neglected your wife, if you've said or done things you're ashamed of, the fact that you're watching this video right now, it is a step in the right direction and a giant leap towards self-love. Don mentions never liking who he saw in the mirror and how that's been recently changing. And it makes me think of this exercise called the mirror of truth, okay? Which is a great way to embrace this concept. The idea is to envision a mirror that reflects not your physical appearance, but your inner self. Whatever comes up for you, that's what it is. Don't think too much about it. Now you can stand in front of a real mirror and think about this. All of those inner characteristics that are staring back at you, okay? This mirror will never lie. It will show all your strengths, your weaknesses, your fears, your hopes, everything that you don't see day by day. Now, learning to look into this mirror and embrace what you see. Don't fight it, don't try to change it, don't think too much about it. It is a powerful exercise in accepting and, of course, loving yourself fully. You see, the thing is, the common wound between all men I work with is that you think you're not good enough, deep down under the core. That's why you self-sabotage and push her away. You have self-doubt. You deserve love. Don't forget that, okay? The thing is that when you can uncover that kernel of truth, that's all the reasons that stem from that thing down here, the man that is high value, the man that wins his wife back, puts himself first, not in a selfish way, but that's self-love. I think it gets so misconstrued in our society what that actually means. But every man that has won their wife back, they come to a place of, you know what? I love this woman. She's my soulmate. I want to keep my family together. But let's work on me first. Let's figure out what's going on with me. Where have I lost a part of myself? What have I neglected? And when you can get to there, not only do you save your marriage, not only do you get her back, you reach new echelons and mountains of growth and prosperity and inner peace and everything you want. It all stems from that place, man. It really does. At the end of the day, for those who are watching the very end of this video, I get to tell you the truth, right? Yes, I will help you save your marriage, but it's not so much I'm gonna help you save your marriage. It's I'm gonna help you become the man that she wants back. That's why I do what I do here, okay? So if that is you wanna work on yourself, it's about you, not about her, then you can set up a call with our team. If you're fully committed to yourself, we'll help you out.